This is Charlotte Forrester with Main Trend News, and I'm here with Tara Reade, author, anti-imperialist activist, and a guest op-ed editorialist with the RT News, and she's also the top accuser of Joe Biden. And Tara, what brings you here today?
I was invited by Center for Political Innovation and Caleb Muffin, and I'm so honored. I received an award, which I put away, which I'll pull back. But it's such a beautiful award for in solidarity for peace and justice.
That is an award for Tara Reade, the International Truth and Solidarity Awards.
And I really am so honored to get this award, and I dedicated it to the investigative journalists that are doing the work in eastern Ukraine, in the Donbas region. Donetsk right now, Eva Bartlett has been doing heroic work. The hotel she was staying in was just bombed. Alina Lip is facing possible criminal jail time just simply for telling the truth. And there's other reporters too that have been facing, like Patrick Lancaster, where his family was threatened. And you have other ones like Wyatt Reade that are trying so hard to bring the truth forward, and the Western corporate media is suppressing it, that the Ukrainians are bombing their own citizens. So I dedicated this also to the movement, who's just had an FBI raid. And these are people I stand in solidarity with. And so I'm honored to get it, and I'm also dedicating it to them. And, Eva Bartlett, if you're watching.
And also, do you have any words of words for Julian Assange as well?
Yes, free him now. He's an Australian citizen being extradited under the Espionage Act by the United States. He published and embarrassed, the U.S. empire and the European empire by exposing their war crimes. He should be free. He is a hero. He brought us truth, and we're watching basically a slow execution in slow motion done by the U.S. It's abhorrent. It's unacceptable. Free Julian Assange.
And you talked about your experiences with the raids from the government as well. When you came forward with Joe Biden assaulting you, your house was seized. Your assets were freezed.
No. That didn't happen, but I lost my housing. Where I was staying, the landlords had seen on CNN that I was being threatened, and they basically evicted me because I just rent. I lost my job. I've been called a security risk by private employers because they don't want to be targeted by the government. I lost my social security number was printed by the New York Times. And so that allowed people to dox me and harass me and go to every address. People tried to break into my daughter's home. So there was no raid by law enforcement, but I was threatened with prison time, up to 25 years for perjury, saying I lied about my education. I did not. I have graduated from the Seattle University School of Law in 2004 with a degree, and I do not practice law, but I did have a degree, and I was a victim advocate and expert witness. And so everything was done to try to smear my character and drag me and focus my attention on trying to defend myself rather than investigating Joe Biden. It would take one member of Congress to open an investigation into Joe Biden. And the complaint that I filed in 1993 is sealed in the University of Delaware. He refuses to unseal it. Allegedly, that's where it is. I don't even know where it is. And it should be, there's other records there that should be released. So I believe they should release those records. We should see what Joe Biden's really about. There's 7 other women that came forward as well, and their voices have never really been heard.
And what are your words of advice for those who are scared to come forward with certain injustices, as well as anti-imperialist activists, journalists, and organizers who want to speak out against the truth but are concerned for their own safety?
Yeah, that's a personal decision. You have to do what you have to do. I decided to use my platform, however small it is, to push back on the Russophobia that we're seeing. I stand with Russia. I stand with Syria. I stand with Palestine. I stand with Venezuela, Nicaragua, and all the countries that have been, basically oppressed and had overt and covert operations by the U.S. State Department and our government to basically take their resources and oppress their people, and it's not okay. It's predatory, and I don't want to be part of a country, part of a system that's predatory. And I applaud the fact that Russia has been able to overcome sanctions. The ruble is one of the strongest currencies in the world, and China, of course, it was already a giant in the economy. And I think the U.S. just has to face it. The unipolar world, the Western hegemony, is over. We're heading towards a multipolar world, and how beautiful would it be if we provided cooperation and innovation and used, instead of sending $57 billion to fight a proxy war in Ukraine against Russia, if we use that money for our own infrastructure, for partnership with these countries, and then we could have prosperity. Because really, citizens of Russia, citizens of Ukraine, citizens of China, everywhere, people just want peace and prosperity, including U.S. citizens. And a few ruling class elites are deciding to cut the money, the weapons manufacturers, the prison industrial project, and we need to stop all of this and reimagine a different system. And so being here today, hearing like-minded people that want to reimagine a better system has been fantastic. And I am in solidarity with everything that Caleb Baldwin put forth here today.
And can you tell me what your favorite part of the conference was today?
There are so many favorite parts. I think the last part of Caleb's speech was really moving and really, really open and honest. He's very direct, so that was one of my favorite parts. Also, I think just being around in Chicago, which my mother was an activist, and being around people from CPI and getting to know them face to face rather than just on the internet was so meaningful. And I've come close to tears so many times this weekend because it's just it's so nice to build communities and connections and to have heartfelt conversations about what can be better, not just talking about what's wrong, but solutions.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And where can we find you and your work?
I have a link tree and my email on my social media. So on Twitter, you can find me at Reade Alexandra. I have a YouTube channel and a podcast every Monday or so. It's called Politics of Survival, and with Tara Reade, and it's independently made. Excuse me. INN, Independent News Network, has been wonderful. They volunteer and engineer and produce it. They've been lifting other independent content creators of all different kinds of views. But it's really what we need, because right now the corporate Western media is accessible, and they're basically just repeating like State Department talking points. So you can't really get truth or information. So it's really good to turn to these other alternatives for truth.
Well, thank you so much, Tara, for coming by and for your amazing speech today, as well as your work. And I hope to see you soon. I hope to see more of you soon.
Thank you. I hope so too.
All right.